The truth that shattered US. The front door slammed behind me with the sharp echo of a gunshot. There she was, my wife of 8 years, standing in the kitchen doorway, arms folded so tightly that her knuckles turned pale. Sarah's eyes were red and swollen, but the hard line of her jaw told me this wasn't about dirty dishes or some petty argument. "I'm pregnant," she said flatly. "And it's not yours. It's Mark's. Deal with it." My keys slipped from my hand, clinking across the tile like coins dropped in a beggar's cup. For a heartbeat, the world tilted. The smell of lasagna, the one I'd been craving all day, turned sour in my throat. Then something deep inside me, something cold and ancient, stirred awake. I laughed. Not the kind of laugh you fake at a bad joke, but a hollow, jagged sound that comes when reality cracks in half. "You're not the only one with news," I said, tasting metal on my tongue. Sarah flinched like I'd struck her. "What are you talking about?" I stepped over the keys and walked into the living room. The couch still carried the dent from last Christmas when we'd fallen asleep watching old movies. I sank into it, feeling the springs creak beneath me like they already knew what was coming. "Sit down, Sarah. You'll want to be sitting for this." She hesitated, one hand drifting protectively to the faint swell beneath her sweater, then followed. The silence between us thickened, heavy and humid, like the air before a Karachi monsoon. From outside, the distant call to prayer floated in from a mosque a few streets away, the same sound that had lulled us to sleep on our honeymoon. I waited until the final note faded. "Remember the night you told me you were working late at the clinic?" I asked, voice steadier than I felt. "March 3rd. You came home smelling like disinfectant and someone else's cologne." Her lips parted, but no words came. "I followed you," I continued. "Not because I'm paranoid, but because the credit card statement showed a hotel in Clifton I'd never heard of. Room 412. I took a slow breath. I sat in the lobby, hiding behind a newspaper like some pathetic spy, and watched you walk out, hand in hand with my brother. Color drained from her face, so quickly I thought she might collapse. "You knew," she whispered. "Knew," I echoed. "I died that night, Sarah. I drove to the sea and screamed until my throat was raw. Then I came home and pretended everything was fine, because I wanted to be wrong. I needed to believe you had a reason that wouldn't destroy me." Her shoulders trembled. "I was going to tell you. I swear I was." "Stop." I lifted my hand. "Let me finish. Because your confession isn't where the story ends." I reached into my jacket and pulled out an envelope I'd been carrying for weeks. Inside was a single sheet of paper, black letters on white. I slid it across the coffee table. She stared at it warily. "What's this?" "Paternity test," I said quietly. "Mark took it 3 weeks ago. Didn't tell you, did he?" Her fingers shook as she unfolded it. The header read Clearview Genetics. Probability of paternity, 0%. The sound that left her throat wasn't human. It was the sound a soul makes when it breaks. "No," she whispered. "That can't be right." "Oh, it's right," I said, leaning forward. "You've been sleeping with my brother for half a year. You told me the baby was 8 weeks along, but Mark's been in London for the last 4 months. He left the day after Valentine's. I've seen the boarding pass." Her eyes darted between the paper, me, and the floor, searching for an exit that didn't exist. "Then whose baby is it?" she whispered. I laughed again, but this time it cracked through my voice. "That's the part that almost made me laugh. Remember your girls' trip to Bangkok last December? You came home with a tan and a little tattoo on your hip." Her hand moved there instinctively. "I hired someone," I said. "A private investigator, friend of a friend. He followed you from Sarnabhumi to a bar in Patbong. You left with a man named Daniel Park, Korean-American, venture capitalist, married, 2 kids. Soul." Recognition flickered in her eyes. Tears began to roll down her cheeks, tracing through old mascara. "I was drunk," she whispered. "It was one night. I hated myself after." "One night," I repeated softly. "One night that gave you the one weapon you thought could destroy me." I stood, my knees aching like rusted metal. "You told Mark it was his, because blaming him hurt less than facing me. You picked my brother because breaking me twice was easier than with a stranger." She bent over, arms wrapped around her stomach, as if to shield the child from the truth. "What happens now?" "Now?" I looked around the room, at our wedding photo, still smiling in some distant forever, at the ultrasound magnet on the fridge. Now I stopped pretending. I took a steady breath. "I've already spoken to a lawyer. The house is in my name. Mom left it to me before she passed. You have until Friday to take what you want. After that, the locks change. Her eyes were swollen red. And the baby? I swallowed hard. The baby deserves honesty. If you want to tell Daniel Park he's going to be a father, that's up to you. If you want Mark to live in his delusion, that's between you and your conscience. But you won't raise that child in this house, not on the ashes of my trust. She tried to stand but stumbled, catching herself on the couch. I loved you, Ethan, she whispered. I don't, I said quietly. The words came out sharper than I meant. Love doesn't sneak out at 2 a.m. Love doesn't lie to my face every morning with a smile. Love doesn't twist the knife with my own blood. I walked toward the hall and paused without turning back. You broke us, Sarah. But I'm not the one who has to live with what's left. Her sobs echoed behind me as I stepped over the fallen keys, opened the door, and let the heavy night air swallow me whole. Somewhere down the street, a motorbike backfired, a sharp crack that sounded like the last breath of the life we'd built. I didn't look back. For the first time in months, the air actually tasted clean.